evening. Happy Monday, and welcome to another edition of the Opening Kick as the playoffs heat up. And yes, I said playoffs. The regular season is over. It is playoff team for a lot of teams in college football, and me and my co-host are here to talk about it. But look, got an action-packed show tonight, and as always, I got my man, Coach Gerald Smoke Dixon. How you doing, sir?
Petty, I am doing outstanding, my good man. Everything's for the up and up right now. Happy Monday, happy Tuesday. Wednesday's going to be hump day. Thursday got over hump day. Friday there'll be some football. Saturday we have some real good football.
And your Bills back there, are rolling. Had a good Sunday.
Never stop rolling.
Never stop rolling. Hey, I got a feeling Buffalo's going to the Super Bowl.
Listen, Petty, I keep telling you, man. If I touch it, it usually becomes platinum. But
well, look, I'm your host, Daniel Petty. Oh, go ahead. Of course, man. I believe you at this point. I'm preaching to everybody that'll listen. I preach, man. If you ain't listening to Smoke, if he says it, I'm writing it down, unless it's talking about Ole Miss, Oklahoma. But with that said, we got an action-packed show tonight. I'm going to grill my man Smoke on which teams are actual contenders in college football, because I think we're to the point where some teams are separating themselves, and I'll let him tell you if he thinks they are, and I'll tell him if he's right or wrong.
Bring it.
Look, we got a full slate of playoff games coming up this weekend, and me and my man Smoke are here to break them down for you. With that said, before we break anything down, we got to break down our sponsor, people to keep the lights on. That's one Limestone Company. Have you ever dreamed of having beautiful natural stone in and around your home? Well, don't settle for subpar materials. Check out Limestone Company's selection of natural stone products to meet all your project needs. Limestone is located in Aniana, Alabama, and is one of the oldest, most trusted sources in the state. So contact them today and tell them we sent you by using the promo code TheBamaStandard to receive 10% off your first offer. As always, thank you, Limestone, for keeping the lights on here for us at the Bama Standard in the Opening Kick. With that said, man, Smoke, like I said, we've got – first, hit that like and subscribe. If you're here with us on Twitter or the X, come on over to theBamaStandard.com and hit that subscribe and like. We love you. We thank you. Thank you for being here with us again on this Monday night. With that said, Smoke, we are to that point in the season where, yeah, it's playoff time. And I feel like for the past decade, at this point of the season, you could probably name 2 or 3 teams that were legit national title contenders. And I don't know if it's just because the playoff, but if there's more parity going on, there's definitely more parity. But I feel like now this year more than ever, there's more teams this late in the season that can honestly look themselves in the mirror and say, we've got a real shot at this thing. So I'm going to run through some teams, and I'm going to let you tell me if they are a real contender or not. I'm going to go off with this because the playoff poll don't come out till tomorrow. I'm going to go with this worthless AP poll because it'll at least give us a close estimate. And I say worthless because these guys are idiots. All right. Oregon, real or not?
1,000% real. Oregon's the best team right now playing. Regardless of what happened last Saturday, won by 3 points.
Yeah,
versus Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so just riding back over from my daughter's basketball games. They just won state in the cheerleading in the state of Tennessee, middle school. So big ups to my daughter, Sakiah Dixon, a.k.a. Juice, in Station Camp Middle School. Shameless plug, but hey, state champions. Congrats. So just riding back over from her game, I was thinking to myself, there's just not any dominant football teams right now in college football. And I think as college fans, we are still looking for that. And I think those days are few and far in between of what the reality is right now. There's just really good football teams with solid coaching. And the word parity just gives people this opportunity to complain and gripe and moan about it. But Oregon is the best team right now. They've been the most consistent. They're still undefeated. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, their quarterback is playing well. Their offensive line is caught up to speed. They have playmakers on the edge. They have enough on defense to create and close out games and have guys on the back end that can cover the receivers. So at the end of the day, yeah, they're number one. They're real contenders.
I agree. It was a weird night up at Camp Randall. Look, they had all of Wisconsin's drives were drives that were sustained by third down penalties that kept drives extended. And it was just one of those weird nights. So they stayed on the field Dylan Gabriel was a little off. It's just a weird, but they still pulled out a win in a raucous environment. Look, it's college football. You're not going to win every game by 40. People, for some reason, seem to forget that and think if you're number one, you're supposed to win by 50. That just ain't the case. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Oregon is a no doubt contender. Ohio State.
Contenders.
Yeah.
Ohio State is a top 5 football team. And again, it's just consistency. Yes, they lost to the number 1 team, but everybody else they've beaten. And just the focus level over with these young kids, there's so much that they have going on. And again, I just don't believe dominant football and college football should be put together anymore. But when you talk about players, coaches, environment, execution, Ohio State is executing and they're winning, and they got good enough players. They got really good players in order to call them true contenders. If they catch even Oregon at a bad time, yeah, they'll punch them in the mouth and beat them too.
Yeah, because they've got the talent to do it. And look, man, we're getting to this playoffs. I think everybody's going to realize real quick, this is going to be a lot like the NCAA tournament in basketball. Seeding and who you play, who you get paired with may be a big deal, because you may end up getting paired with an Indiana and then the next round of BYU or something crazy. And all of a sudden a team that seeding is going to matter here. But no, to your point, Ohio State is absolutely loaded. It's not a team you want to catch. They've got the talent to beat anybody on any given day. Guys in the chat, Kyle, Brian Wilson, Latoya, Bob, Veronica, Don, give us your choice. Hey, if you tell us if we're wrong or if we're right, who you see as teams that are contender. Derek, all you guys chime in that chat. With that said, the next one on the list, and man, they escaped Fayette Nam by the skin of their teeth this weekend. Texas Longhorns. Tell you what, man, they've got a stud in that Alfred Collins. That kid kind of disrupts a game like Jonathan Allen was his senior year. So they pop at all kind of positions, but people have kind of been questioning Texas because they don't have a top 25 win. Are they a legit contender, Smoke?
Absolutely. There's about 5 teams, Petty. When you go through it, we're going to get to the 5, but yeah, they're absolutely contenders. They have play caller on offense. They have a good enough offensive line. The only offensive line that's really showed them up is Georgia's. Georgia's defense line is the only one that showed up their offensive line. And I think Georgia healthy shows up anybody's offensive line. They have a running game. They have explosive pass receivers outside, and they got a quarterback. So they have the component of an offense that can truly explode at any point and play and be explosive and control the game as well too. And their tight end's one of the better ones in the country. And when you go on defense, they're firm enough in the middle. On third down, they can create pressure without bringing pressure. And they have studs on the back end of cover, and they have an eraser in the middle. So, again, I think as fans and even myself, we all have to understand that football is a week-to-week, and again, week-to-week, especially in college football, game. And last week, Texas ran up on a bus on Vietnam, almost lost it, but they didn't. They found a way how to win it. And I think good teams find ways how to win ugly games consistently. Mm-hmm. You just have to keep getting better and be the hottest team at the end. And I think Texas has all the recipe for success in order for them to be considered truly a contender and holding up that natty at the end of the year.
No doubt. I think you can say the same. Say the same thing for Ohio State, rinse and repeat for Texas. They've got the talent. I think the first 3 were kind of easy no-brainers. I agree with you. I think there's 5, maybe 6 teams that are legit contenders, but we're finally going to get to some in this ranking that I'm not sure qualifies that. Penn State, are they a legit contender?
No.
Look, they've got to win a big game against a real opponent before I believe in Penn State. That's bottom line. It is what it is.
And the components that I just ran off, I do believe they have a good play caller in Andy Kolnicki. Mm-hmm. I'm a fan of Drew, but I don't believe that Drew has that it factor or has the ability to create once the play breaks down and play off script as the other quarterbacks that we just talked about, or has enough capability within his right arm to create those explosive plays. On the outside, I don't see their receivers being explosive enough to truly threaten anybody that we just talked about in the top 4 tier of groups. Offensive line, they're just solid. They can run the heck out of the ball. And Tyler Warren probably the best tight end. But I don't think running the football and having a tight end and just an average above average college quarterback is a true recipe to win it all. And on the defensive side, yes, they have pass rushers. Inside, they're solid. Second level, they're okay. On the back end, they're a little bit banged up. And Ohio State showed you that if you can't really create turnovers, and even on your best day, can they cover Oregon's guys? On Ohio State's best days, can they line up and cover all of Ohio State's receivers? I don't think so. I think they're the next step down. And again, that's Penn State. They're the next step down for truly being a contender for a national championship this year.
I can't look. I just have a problem and I've seen Drew Allar live. I agree with you. Once a play breaks down, I just don't think he's that guy. They've got some guys, but just not enough to beat the upper echelon. This next team, easily the most controversial one in all of the top rankings. They're undefeated, but again, they're one of the three teams, Texas, Penn State, and Indiana, who have yet to beat a top 25 team. But look, man, you play the schedule that's given to you. Not much you can do about that. You play and you win. But look, Kirk Cignetti is pounding his chest. He'll let you know I'm a winner. I'll be honest, though, and Penn State falls under this category. I bet there's a few SEC teams that don't mind right now. They're looking at those pairings and say, okay, give us one of these two in that opening round. Is Indiana a legit title contender, Smoke?
No. I don't think. I think they're this year's darling team.
They're cute.
That everyone wants to say, I can't wait till they give them a real opportunity. And again, like you said, we'll never know. But all I've seen is they're disciplined. They're solid all the way around. But again, you have to have that it factor in an extraordinary player. Once we start getting to everything is close and everything is even, what is your quarterback going to do to create that play? Can your O-line hold up long enough? No. And do you have enough explosive playmakers on the outside when I do get the ball to them to can create a play outside of what it's designed? Defensively, they can get after you. The secondary plays and keeps everything in front of them. But again, when you're going against dog on good, that dog is going to show that good player that he's just not good enough to be a dog.
I agree wholeheartedly. And they're going to get their litmus test, their first real litmus test against the Ohio State on the road this weekend. We're going to get to see what they're made of. That's going to be a game, obviously, we're going to break down this playoff run coming up. But it's put up or we'll find out. Everybody's been waiting on this moment in college football to find out if Indiana's the real deal. You're gonna know come Saturday afternoon. The next one, boy, speaking of controversial, they're always in the middle of it. People feel like they're always fluffed in their rankings. They've got, and next to Ole Miss, maybe the ugliest wart of a loss in the top 10, and that's Notre Dame with that Northern Illinois loss hanging around in a schedule that's somewhat questionable. But, man, question what you want. Take that loss away. Notre Dame's played really good football, man. The Riley Leonard's looked good. Is this is this Notre Dame team for real, or is this one that shows up and gets smacked by Alabama 49 to whatever?
Now I don't know why you had to throw Alabama's name in there to smack them around.
Well, just whoever they play when they finally put them in the playoff and get whacked by 40. But I said Alabama for all my Crimson fans in the chat.
No, I don't think Notre Dame is a true national championship contending team. Again, you got to show me the recipe of a play caller, offensive line, quarterback. Riley Leonard's not moving me in terms of throwing the football. Yes, can he run it and create some plays? Absolutely. But I haven't seen him play the position of quarterback well enough. And they don't have guys on the outside, again, that can create those explosive plays. See, in college football, you have to run the ball to control the clock and control momentum. Mm-hmm. But once you get the ball on the outside, those outside receivers are the ones that truly control the explosive plays, and they create those plays that shuts everybody up and put 6 on the board easily. And the teams that can do that and run the ball and protect the quarterback, I think have a good chance at it. But I don't see Notre Dame being able to do that. Sorry.
I don't either. I kind of think they're look, man, I'm not going to believe Notre Dame falls in the Penn State category. I'm not going to believe it until I see it. Before we go to that, we've got a big recruiting update for you Crimson Tide fans covering all River region. And Justin, I believe behind the scenes has backed this up. Ivan Taylor, the big safety, has flipped his commitment from Michigan to Alabama. That is a huge flip. This kid, very sought after, very rangy safety out of the state of Florida. Big time pickup for the University of Alabama on that Kane Womack swarm defense. Woo! What do you know about DB, Smoke?
Well, a little bit, but that can't be groundbreaking news that Alabama beats Michigan in a recruiting war, is it? That's normal behavior.
No.
And again, we can't speak of old Alabama, but we can speak of the yesteryear Alabama of Coach Saban in that recruiting machine.
Yeah.
That would have just been like, oh, okay, yeah, that happened because it's supposed to. And shout out to Courtney Morgan and that crew over there for doing a bang-up job and getting this kid to come over and flip. But, I mean, if you want real football and you want SEC football and you're considering yourself a NFL player, I mean, who spit out more NFL players in Alabama in the last counted years?
Nobody.
So,
nobody. And look, Courtney, what did Courtney tell him? Hey, man, I'm a Michigan man at Alabama. Come on, why would you go there?
I don't think Courtney would ever say that, but that's a whole another conversation for himself. But he understands that real recognize real, and you're going to see more of what Mr. Taylor is looking for in the SEC. There's two. To me, a Michigan player and an Alabama player aren't the same guys. They don't even shop in the same zip code. Like, they're just different.
One's Louis and one's Eddie Bauer. What's that?
No, I mean they're both what they are, but it's just those kids are different.
Yeah, I agree.
A Michigan kid is not an Alabama kid.
No.
Like, Alabama kids are there to play ball and just animals.
Yeah.
Michigan guys are educated men that play football.
Big pickup. But speaking of Alabama, they're next on the list, Smoke. I'm sure our fans are ready to hear your thoughts on this one. And this was one I had at the beginning of my season as a mortal lock for the playoffs, and it's looking like that may come true. Smoke. I'm freaking Nostradamus on that thing.
Yeah, you are.
Look, I put Alabama and Georgia. Let's be real. Nostradamus are just playing the odds.
Hey, Petty, you know what? Since we're both graduates of Alabama, one of us played there. I think you played longer than I played at Bama. I've been giving you the recipe.
I was there a decade, homeboy. Call me Van Wilder.
I've given you the recipe for success. And I'm going to have you answer this question of these contenders, play caller, quarterback play, explosive on the outside, closer on the defensive line side, back end can cover up well enough. So let's start on offense. Do you think Alabama have the play caller in order to compete for a championship?
Yes.
Do they have the quarterback?
100%.
Do they have explosive receivers or receiver on the outside to create?
Get Bernard, man. He's coming into his own, man. I think they've got two that you can rely on now. Absolutely.
Okay. Offensive line is good enough.
100%. Booker's become the leader on that line.
Closer on defense.
Oh, Jihad Campbell has turned into the best linebacker in college football.
Damn it, I love it. Back end, can they pick it up?
Oh, absolutely, man. It's young, but Malachi Moore's got these boys playing good. Look at what they do. Look what they did against LSU in Baton Rouge. Shut down one of the best passing offenses in college football.
Then pencil them in. Then you said they're a competitor. I didn't.
I think they're one of the two most dangerous teams in college football right now.
Mm-hmm. There's
two. All right, next up, the team that's got punched in the mouth a week ago, had their backs against the wall in Athens, and took the balls. Showed everybody that the Georgia Bulldogs aren't done yet. I think this is Georgia. Are they back in it? Are they a title contender?
No. Sorry, guys.
Woo! Wow. Yeah, buddy. Now we're getting spicy. Love it.
Everybody can't be a national contender team.
Nope.
And even, I mean, you threw Alabama in there. I didn't. But if you asked me to take one of the two, I've seen one play more consistent. Carson Beck scares the heck out of me just because of how he plays. That Georgia offensive line, this is the worst offensive line I've seen at Georgia in a long, long time. And what you could hang your hat on at Georgia was always physical offensive line, physical run game. At some point, one of those receivers are going to show up. You haven't seen any of that this year on offense. The run game hasn't been that physical. The offensive line is, I mean, they have too much leakage and allow too much pressure on Carson Beck. Carson Beck has not played well enough. And on the outside, I haven't seen a guy that truly scares you, and you can consider him an explosive receiver on the edge. So, sorry, my Georgia Bulldog fans, pretenders.
I agree. Take them out of Athens. I mean, look, I love Tennessee's defense, but their offense is kind of wounded, and Georgia got them at home. They were able to shut them down after taking the 10-point lead. I'm with you. I'm not sold on Beck. I think Georgia is Georgia, but I think we're saying that because they're Georgia, but they're flawed. And I do think they're a pretender this year, mainly because of what I saw a week ago in Oxford, Mississippi, who is the next team. I'm really interested to see your take here, Smoke. Is Ole Miss the Rebels in this world of college football an actual national title contender?
Absolutely. I think what the Rebels have shown all of us, including myself, that defense is real, that offensive line is good enough. We saw gritty playmaking plays out of that quarterback. In terms of receivers, they got them. And you got a play caller that's whipping it up together. Ole Miss is one of the hotter teams. And in focus, Ole Miss is on that bottom tier of true contenders, but they're in that contenders category. Alabama's in there, toss them in there too.
Saban said it on game day, and man, I didn't even see it, so it made me feel good. And I feel like a homer. I know I'm a Bama grad. I'm an Ole Miss fan, and I'm trying to take both those out of the equation and look back and not say that they're the two most dangerous teams in college football right now. And I say that because of what I saw Ole Miss's defense do to Georgia. Ole Miss's back's against the wall, and this is a program that's not used to being on that stage and delivering. When they're usually on that stage, they fold, and instead they out-physical Georgia. And since halftime of the Oklahoma game, there's been no better team in college. I mean, look, you just saw Texas struggle at Arkansas. That's a team Ole Miss put 63 on. Then the next week, they beat Georgia by 3 scores. You just can't look past that. You know, can they Ole Miss? Sure. We're about to talk about their game in the Swamp coming up this Saturday, which I will be at. But
hey, Petty, Ole Miss played Georgia in the worst condition for an Ole Miss team in early years. That we would have saw the conditions and the inclement weather. We would have said Georgia in a mudslide.
Yeah,
because that's what it was.
Because they're going to out physical. They're going
to out physical them.
They're going to push them around that wet field. Yeah,
there you go. We saw the absolute opposite. We saw a resilient, tough, gritty, nasty Ole Miss team that stood there, took a punch in the mouth from Georgia, and just beat the crap out of them physically. That game wasn't a pretty game where Ole Miss was going so fast and caught Georgia with 12 on the field, and Georgia wouldn't. No, they lined up and just gave them a dose of what they were looking for, and it was a punch in the mouth.
They played Alabama Georgia football with them.
They played Georgia's game and beat Georgia at Georgia's game. So
and if you can do that, you're good enough to win it all. It's just a matter of what draw you get, who you play, and how you play on that Saturday. But I'm with you, Smoke. And I find it hard to believe because even as the Ole Miss fan, it's just not something that this program. But if you look at the team on the field, the way they're playing, it's hard not to say it. Look, we got games we're going to hit, but there's a few more. We're going to rocket. We're going to Spitfire the last several, Smoke.
We're good.
Miami. Cam Ward and those guys, can he win them a title?
No. Pretenders. Keep on going.
Boise.
Nah. Pretenders. Keep on going.
Okay, there's only 2 more that I can even throw out because they've got a chance. A&M.
Keep on. No shot.
No, okay. Colorado, can they sneak in and make some noise?
Ooh.
They've got 2 of the best players in college football.
And that's the one that I wanted to get to. That's why I spent. So you have Shador and Travis Hunter, 2 of the best football players in the United States.
And before I want to say something real quick. Before people get on the whole ESPN hype machine, stop that shit right now. Go watch him play. Travis, they may finally get it right if they give it to Travis Hunter. He is the best player in college football. He plays the whole damn game, and he plays it at a high level, not just out there. Go ahead. Sorry.
You have your offensive line is playing better. With all that said, this is not the year for them to be a contender. They're pretenders this year just because they don't have enough depth on the offensive and the defensive line to hold up versus the top tier contenders. So Prime and the boys out there, man, heck of a job getting close, but this ain't the year.
I agree. They've got the best dudes, but I think there's too many holes. If you watch them play, you'll see plays that are amazing, but then you'll see plays that if they did that against top tier teams, it would absolutely get them crushed. I'm with you, man. They're a fun team to watch. You got to give Prime credit for taking a 1-10 program and turn it into what he's done, but I don't think they can still compete at the top. Man,
hey, Petty, real quick question.
Yes, sir.
We got a question up there from Mr. Washington. Joseph Washington says, Smoke thinks everyone is a contender. Laughing out loud. No, I don't. I just don't believe that this year, and it's SMOKE. Smoke. Yeah. You can put Big Smoke in front of that, Mr. Washington. So when so at the end of the day, when you look at it, and that's why I hope that you went over from X on over to our YouTube channel to come really check us out, so you can get all this issue that I'm about to give you. I said there aren't dominant teams anymore. So when you don't have dominant teams that now get the numbers of contenders up, because on any given Saturday, one of those non-dominant teams can come out and win. Now, if we were talking about the Alabamas of yesteryears, when they had about that 5-year run where they just was bludgeoning everyone, or the Georgia when they had those 3 years of just bludgeoning everyone, or that 2019 LSU team where you're just like, listen, it's them against everybody else. And even that Clemson team that you had, those were truly dominant teams. So when you talked about contenders back then, it was really two teams, because a four-team playoff, the semifinal game was a joke. So yes, there are going to be more contenders now, because the teams aren't surely and truly dominant anymore. So there goes your answer. Come up with a better question.
And I named 12 teams. You only named 5 as real contenders. I think legitimately 5 teams at the end of the week. If any of those 5 teams win the national title, I don't think anybody would be like, well, damn, that's crazy.
No.
So with that said, man, Smoke, great segment. Love getting your thoughts on that. We're heading down, and I think you're right, man. I agree with the list. I love the Georgia call. And I like that we talked about Colorado. But what I really like is that if you're heading to Norman this weekend, don't go empty-handed. Check out one of the best sponsors on planet Earth, and that's whitwillsports.com, and get your title towel today. Go to whitwillsports.com, give them the promo code STANDARD, and get 10% off your title towel. And take that thing with you to Norman, Oklahoma, and let Boomer Sooner know that Bama pride with that title towel. Swing that thing in the air, wipe the tears off after the Tide whips them. Actually not. I think Boomer Sooner's we played them out in your era, Smoke. It was one of the more pleasurable fan experiences, I think, on the road that Bama fans have ever had. They still talk about it to this day.
That was bad. That was bad for me, though. I didn't like that. I didn't like the ending of that one. We were ranked number 1. We had him beat. Carl Torbush, our defensive coordinator at that time, God rest his soul, he's passed away this year, called a blitz where Brooks Daniels and Wayne Bacon were free off the edge, hit the running back, smacked him. The running back spun out, got down the sideline. It was 4th and 13. One shot pushed him out of bounds. He gained 14 yards, and they came back and they won the game. But that was the number 1 ranked team in 2002. And we had them
beat. And if I remember, that was one of the famous Tyler Watts went back with the ball and left it behind him.
And I learned a lesson that day, and that to this day I'm hard on myself. There was a 3rd and I want to say 7, and I want to say it was Mark Clayton. I forget who the daggone tight end is. Tight end ended up playing for the Baltimore Ravens, and I had a young Roman
NFL guy.
Yeah, I had Roman Harper that was playing the dime position, and I asked him I told him to switch it, because that's all we've been working all week, in and out, switch it. And I went back to that, and I came back after the sideline, after they caught the pass. I believe it was even on me or him. It didn't really matter. But I told him, I said, I'd never put a young guy in that situation again. I should have went up, pressed the guy, got it over with, and take you out of it and just let you play by yourself and get away with it. But yeah, I apologize to him after that. He was a baby. And if anybody's out there that got any leadership position to him, and you got a young guy out there, don't put the young guy in a position that he has to think. I should have let Roman Harper play. He was a better player anyway.
Smoke, these now don't sell your shit. Hey, Roman was a great player, but you held your own, my man. You held your own. And these are the moments where I just want to cancel the rest of the damn show and say, forget the games. Let's just talk about that. Tell me your experience with those. I love when you get into those stories. Like, I don't script it. And when you go into it, I feel like that's the moments our fans start looking at the TV like, oh, yeah. Like, yeah, I love that stuff.
That was a good one, man. I want to say Quentin Griffin, we held him to minus yards rushing. We did a really good job all around that day in Norman.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it looked like you said had number one on the ropes that day. And I thought, that was going to be a turning point with Fran and this program was that it was starting to get going.
Hold on now, Petty. You're not giving us enough credit. Daggone, that was the number one team of that year. And we held our own against them. I want to say we only had 3 L's that year. And if we weren't on probation, we would have played in the SEC championship against that Georgia team. And we would have smacked them in the mouth. The defense that I'm talking about that was solid went against Hawaii, and Hawaii was the number one ranked offense that year, and they only gave up 16 points to him. And Timmy Chang's the all-time leading passer in college history.
Was it Timmy Chang?
Timmy Chang's a really good coach.
Dude, that dude could sling the deck. No, he's doing a great job at Hawaii.
And I want to say we picked Timmy off 5 times. So with all that said, if Fran would have stayed at Bama, yes, you guys wouldn't have got Nick Saban, but Fran was 8-5. It was 10-2, or 10-3.
Well, that's why people were so mad. The trajectory. They weren't mad when he left because he sucked. They were mad when he left because it was starting to go in the right direction.
Right.
Nah. Boy, we went down a rabbit hole there, but
and we knocked out the Heisman Trophy winner the year after, Jason White, and I think Nate Hibble had came in the game. But yeah, let's keep going though. Do
you really want to get on Jason White winning the Heisman? You want to? He won it over Eli and Fitzgerald, which is the biggest Heisman robbery of all time.
Keep going.
Jason White was a product of an offense. Eli Manning won 10 games with a bunch of scrubs, and Larry Fitzgerald
was a better player. Jason had a better year.
And Larry Fitzgerald was one of the greatest college receivers at the time. Okay. We have gone way off track. We're going to talk some college football playoffs. Hey, don't forget whitwillsports.com. We love you guys. Whitwill, I know you're in the chat. As always, thank you for your support. Go to whitwillsports.com today and get that title towel waving. With that said, man, let's talk some college football, Smoke. We got a big slate, and I know we've got you for a few minutes. Hit that
like tight real quick.
Hold on. Don's got a question.
Don, come on. Don is my
Who do you feel was Don Parker, who is one of my favorite? He's been pissed off since the Bama game Saturday night. Who do you feel is potentially the most underrated, scary team that will make the playoffs? Also, can Bama overcome their inconsistency issues? I'll let you take both those.
Scary team. I don't think there's any underrated, scary teams out there. And going off of last week's poll, Georgia, because Georgia wasn't in. If we're going off last week's poll, because they weren't in. The playoff team that was out. So it has to be Georgia, unless I'm wrong. And Georgia was the 13th ranked team in the college playoffs last week. So we don't have a new one, Don. So we're going off of last week. So my answer is really easy. Georgia. And also, can Bama overcome their inconsistency? Yes. They can. And I think you're seeing that in the last 2 games, you're seeing that just because, like we said last week, and I know you tuned in, college football new wave is getting to where you have to be more patient with these teams. These teams aren't the same juggernaut that were together for 3 or 4 years and that bonded and know exactly how to play. You're getting a bunch of mercenaries and independent contractors that are coming on some of these good teams. Thus, you have to learn how they play. So the inconsistent part of the game is going to be there just because you have to learn and figure out your teammate. The coaches got to figure out who the players are, what position to put the players in, what plays to call when they have the players there. So it takes a little bit of time. So that's where the inconsistency comes in with all good teams in college football.
Yeah, I think what you're looking for in these teams is, are they getting better? Are the inconsistencies there from week to week, or are they starting to disappear because the teams are starting to figure it out? And Don, I'm going to go a different way with that question because Ole Miss is still sitting at 9th or 10th. And if you put Ole Miss at a place like Indiana on the road, I absolutely think they're the most underrated dangerous because that sets them up to make a real daggum run. I think if Alabama's staying, look, you've got Penn State, Indiana ahead of Alabama and Ole Miss. So I would say I think you could even throw Alabama in that conversation. So I think one of those teams, if they're in the bottom 5, getting to go on the road against a Penn State or Indiana, that's your danger right there because they're going to knock out a top seed. We had another great question from our sponsor, Whitwill. Who gets the 5 spot and who are the first 2 out of the college football playoff? Are you talking about number 5 overall? Right. I wouldn't be shocked to think Bama or Notre Dame slide in. I think Ohio State knocks off Indiana this weekend. So you're going to have some movement. I think you see Notre Dame because I don't think Army can beat them. We're going to talk about that game. But
well, Petty, the way that it breaks down is that the top 4 teams are your 4 conference champions.
Mm-hmm.
So if you say
right.
Bama, say Texas,
Oregon,
say Texas. Well, go ahead. Oregon, Texas. The Big 12 champion, say Colorado. You got to do it.
Yeah.
ACC champion, say Miami. So the 5 spot would be Ohio State.
That's right.
Yeah.
Very good. That's how you do math, folks. That's Smoke doing it. Don't listen to Petty. That's right. Right now, it would absolutely have to be Ohio State because they're not going to get unseated from that position.
Correct.
First 2 out.
Whew.
I think. Ooh, boy.
BYU. BYU. Because they were in. I think BYU's out because now that's where you get that 1 loss team that was there because their record, and now they take that L. They're now going to get punched out. And how far does Tennessee fall?
That's the man. Tennessee, I think, has the biggest gripe in this whole thing. It's almost like they forgot that Tennessee beat Alabama. They've got one of the best wins on their resume, but they got the Arkansas loss and then the Georgia loss. So Tennessee is a weird one, man. I think they're right there on the line. They could be one of the first 2 out based off. If you're listening to reading the tea leaves.
What have you done for me lately?
It really, really is. Now, look, I got you for 13 minutes, and we got 5 big games, I think, to talk about.
Let's get to them.
It's time to rocket fire into some – but look, man, those were some great questions. We appreciate it, and we will always veer off for stuff like that because that's what keeps the show going, especially when it comes from our guy at Whitwell Sports. Again, whitwellsports.com. Check those guys out. With that said, we just talked about one of those contenders. The Ole Miss Rebels are headed to the swamp. They're 11th right now. That's because the playoff poll hadn't come out and the AP's stupid. 11 Central ABC. Ole Miss is now a 10-point favorite over under 55.5. DJ Lagway came back last week. He wasn't mobile from the hamstring injury, but did decent from the pocket. Had the big upset of LSU. They've now put their faith in Billy Napier. He's their guy moving forward. Ole Miss is in ride or die. They lose, they're out. Their season's over. They win, they keep on going. Is this a dangerous spot for Kiffin's Rebels?
Absolutely a dangerous spot. But as a head coach, this is what Lane Kiffin wants. You want a game like this. Because if you can't win this game, then you surely should not be in the playoff and be in the conversation of contenders for national championship. Because this is like a playoff atmosphere that you're getting into. Not the playoff caliber team, but an atmosphere. They're going to be jumping down in the swamp. Big win. Ole Miss is coming in town, but this is where defense travels. And a physical offensive game travels. And you have an experienced, gritty leader, Jackson Dart, at quarterback. And I think this pushes them through. And again, emotions can help you win the game, but emotions can't help you win 2 or 3 in a row. It has to be solid play and consistent play over a period of time. Great win by Florida last week of getting an upset, but to go back to back and beat 2 quality teams, you got to come out and play real, real good football. And I don't think they have enough players as yet to do that. And I don't believe their maturity level is that high in order to get these 2 W's 2 weekends in a row.
Yeah. Again, Ole Miss is coming off an off week. Lagway kind of being not mobile. I question that Ole Miss defensive line can get to him. And let's be real. I think the win over LSU probably was a good thing for Ole Miss because it got their attention. Not to, hey, we can't overlook this team. They're dangerous as hell. Kiffin can point to them. Hey, they just beat the team that beat you. LSU beat you. It's very simple. Can't overlook them.
LSU is fool's gold. Keep on going.
They are fool's gold, no doubt. But I've heard the word trap game can't be a trap game once you lose to Kentucky, because if you don't lose that game, you do have one to spare. Maybe you take this off. They have nothing to spare. This can't be a trap. They're not going to overlook. I think Ole Miss comes in focused. I think this is a line that gets a lot of people in the country after their win last week to say, ooh, I don't think Ole Miss can win by that. I think Ole Miss wins this one comfortably.
Yes. Suckers and average teams get trapped.
That's right. Hey, and I'll be there. My first venture into the swamp, Smoke. I'm excited about it.
Don't get beat up, man.
Don, you got a question. I'm going to bring that in when we bring up the Bama game, because we are going to talk Bama Oklahoma. With that said, the biggest game at that noon slot will not be the one I'm at. It will be the one in Ohio State, where Indiana, number 5, is headed to the Horseshoe to face Ohio State. And like I said, this is their litmus test. 11 Central, Fox, Ohio State, a 13-point favorite. That tells you what Vegas thinks about Indiana. Over under of 52. Does Indiana have a puncher's chance in this, or are we about to find out they are indeed fool's gold?
I don't believe they're fool's gold. I just don't believe they have enough horses to run in this derby. Solid coaching on the part of Coach Igniti. They have their offensive line, majority of them they took from JMU. Discipline, but sometimes you can be as disciplined as you want. But when you have talent like Ohio State has on the offensive line, I know it's rebuilt, but they're still playing good on that left side. Mm-hmm. Those 2 horses back there running the ball, those 3 receivers, and Will Howard is playing well enough. Mm-hmm. And I think this is where you start seeing that train of Ohio State starts churning. Defensively, they get after your butt. And Caleb Downs is the best safety that was ever in Nick Saban's era. He is a problem. I saw what he did against Penn State. If anybody don't believe that he's that good, ask Tyler Warren. Why was he put in the witness protection program when they played against Ohio State?
Well,
he showed up in the box. He showed up in man-to-man coverage. He showed up in zone. He showed up at the line of scrimmage. He's an X factor. Whenever they want to put somebody on any one of Indiana's receivers, yeah, and he's going to show up at the line of scrimmage. Track that daggone tight end. I know they've talked about that at Ohio State's defensive meetings, and he'll bring you to the play. But 13 points, I see why. Buckeyes are really good.
I do too. I mean, you didn't even mention that they've got the best 1-2 punch in all of college football in the backfield with Henderson and Judkins. I mean, you can say I know it hurts the Ole Miss side of me, but it is what it is. That's why they bought them. They wanted that it's the best 1-2 punch in college football, and it ain't even really close. Both those guys are first-round picks. So, yeah, that takes pressure off the quarterback, Will Howard. And then Smith at wide receiver outside of our boy Ryan Williams, he's the best young wide receiver in college football.
Cornell Tate's a problem. Cornell Tate's a problem as well, too.
Oh, absolutely. Ohio State, man, I think they're just too much for Indiana. Look, I would love the upset. I know people are ready for them. I would give me the Indiana upset Saturday. I'd love to see it. Speaking of upsets, Army doing not only the country but the Lord's work, heading into South Bend, Indiana to face number 8 Notre Dame. The entire country that's not wearing gold and navy, I think will be cheering. Well, actually, Army's gold and navy too. Maybe. Okay. Everybody's going to be cheering for Army that don't cheer for damn Notre Dame. 6 o'clock on the Notre Dame network. Notre Dame's favored by 14. Again, it seems like Vegas doesn't have much faith in the upset here. Over under at 44.5. It's because Army runs the ball every damn play, and Notre Dame's not that explosive.
Both of those teams, they have to run the ball in order to be successful. Riley Leonard, they don't have enough explosive guys on that Notre Dame team in terms of receivers. So this is 2 triple option teams if you look at them.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of the day, it's who's
Bryson Daly for Army's got 1,000 yards rushing, 21 touchdowns. He's their lead. As always, the Army leading rusher is their quarterback.
Petty, I wouldn't be shocked if we turn on the TV and Army upsets Notre Dame.
I wouldn't be either. I wouldn't be either, man.
Listen, Nate Woody is a darn good defensive coordinator. Sean Cronin is a very good defensive line coach. Daryl Dixon is a darn good secondary and pass game coordinator. When you cut on the film and you see what they're doing at Notre Dame, not Notre Dame, at Army, they're going to put Riley Leonard in a pickle when he has to throw the ball. They have so many disguises. They have very good concept in their zone, in their fire zones. They match up well. They don't allow explosive plays. Don't give you cheap plays because they're so disciplined and well coached. You're going to have to drive the ball 12 to 15 plays to score. And their defense is good enough not to allow that. I can see this being an upset, and I would put Notre Dame on upset alert. Triple option.
I agree wholeheartedly. And that's where you talk about Notre Dame needing those 12, 13 to score. And that's where Army really puts pressure on you because they also score in 10 to 13 play drives. And if that offense stays ahead of the chains on first down, second down, and can keep Notre Dame's offense on the field, grind away those touchdowns, and then you're putting pressure on Notre Dame to score every time they get the ball on short clocks. And again, they're probably going to have to grind out. That's Army's recipe. I'm with you, Smoke. Navy didn't have it in them, but Navy doesn't have what Army does this year.
And Navy turned the ball over as well, too, Petty.
Yeah. They don't have the defense Army does, I don't believe.
Yeah. But in that game, they turned the ball over.
Yeah. In the game, they had, yeah. You're correct.
Notre Dame
You're correct.
Score. So, again, when you turn the ball over at these service academy schools, you can't give away points because you don't have the offense to come back. But if you want to get in a grinded out, physical, disciplined game, Army's the best one at it. Defensively, they're good enough. If you put the ball in the air, their secondary, I want to say they have 14 interceptions this year. So they come down with the ball. Larkins is a ball park, and he can get the ball back to you.
There you go. So, there you have it. Smoke's upset special of the week. Army is taking down the gauntlet. And look, that's going to make a lot of college football fans happy because that shakes it up in a way that helps a lot of the teams that follow us on this chat. I skipped one. Colorado, a team we just talked about. Dion Prime got his buffs at 17, got two of the most dynamic players in college football, are headed to the all of a sudden 4-6 giant killer Kansas Jayhawks. In the last 2 weeks, they have taken down Iowa State, then went on the road to Provo and took down BYU. And the Provo floats. Man, Kansas is rolling, and now they get Colorado at home. 2:30 Fox, but Buffaloes are favored by 3, over under 59.5. Does Kansas keep the giant killer motif going, or does Colorado do what they've kind of been doing that nobody's really paying attention to and keep steady the course, keep winning?
Well, Petty, I think somebody might have gave it an upset special last week of Kansas beating BYU and how they're going to do it. Might have been us.
Yeah, we brought that game up on purpose.
We called that. So, but with all that said, I'm with you.
Yeah,
We said somebody's on upset alert, but they didn't want to listen to us out there in Utah. So, you don't listen to us, you pay for the penalty in life. It's called losing. Colorado, I think Petty, I like this Colorado team for a simple fact that when it comes down to it offensively, Shedeur Sanders, Will Shepherd, Travis Hunter, they've been playing some daggone good football. And they have enough in them to control this game. If it's offense versus offense, I'm going to take Colorado's offense over Kansas' offense. Now, we said last week Kansas has 3 receivers and Daniels that can go ahead and they can cause some problems.
Daniels play better.
Conceptually and schematically, they can cause problems because they threaten you horizontally, vertically. They have different formations. They force you to cover 53 1/3 of the field, and they also put pressure on you vertically. But with all that said, Colorado's defense has been playing really well, man. They've been getting after the passer. They've been physical. They've been aggressive. A lot of people didn't want to give Coach Prime his props, but he's showing the world that you can be one of the greatest players ever. You can have a bunch of Pro Bowl and Hall of Fame players on your staff, or former players on your staff, and still coach the crap out of kids and still ask them to be accountable for their action, play with effort and desire, and come to work every day. And that's what they're doing. And they're just showing you that at the end of the year, they're just getting better and better and better. Shout out to D. Lou and Warren Sapp for what they're doing with that defensive line.
And I think you nailed it. I think it shows that Prime has figured his role out as a head coach. He's not the Nick Saban, the defensive guru. Was he a great DB? Yeah, but he's not the guy that's instilling that. No, he's the guy that brings in the talent, but that's not just football players, it's coaches. And he's bringing in talented coaches to coach talented players and letting them do their thing while he's the CEO over it all. He's the guy that's patting them on the back when they come to the sideline or chewing their ass out when they screw up. Man, absolutely give Dion his credit. He has absolutely figured out how to play this game in this new world of college football. And that's being the CEO, letting great coaches coach and finding good players and bringing them in. And that's how you do it. So I'm with you. And again, Kansas has killed 2 Giants in a row, doing it 3 weeks in a row, getting up 3 weeks in a row. And I think this is the best of those 3 too. So the 2 you beat previous, I think were a little more pretenders. I think this team's got a little more punch. I'm with you. I think Colorado goes out there and covers this game. With that said, man, we got to get to the Blue Blood Plate Special to end this night. And when I say Blue Blood Plate Special, that is Alabama heading out to Norman, Oklahoma for the first time since the guy sitting next to me was out on this football team. He told a little bit of stories about it.
Hey,
man. So look, I know this isn't the Oklahoma team that everybody may be used to, but this is still Oklahoma at night, 6:30 ABC in Norman. Bama's favored by 14. I'm assuming because that's Bama's defense has woke up and Oklahoma hadn't found an offense this year. But still, smoke. It's Blue Bloods going at Blue Bloods. This is why Oklahoma came to the conference. Their season is shot. But as a football team, what their coach is telling them, what Brent Venables is telling them, hey, man, you're getting to play Alabama tonight. This is your shot to knock off one of the behemoths.
Give me that motivational speech again. Come on, keep going.
This is your chance. Look, last week's over. Next week don't matter. This season, this is what SEC football is about. Beating the Alabama Crimson Tide in your backyard. You go out there and you boomer and you sooner and you bring that damn horse is bringing that thing, and then you're probably going to get your ass kicked, but give it your best.
Bring back Dupree. Bring back Barry. Bring them all back. Bring back
Brian Bosworth ain't walking through that door.
Yeah. Bring them all back. You listen.
Oh, holy shit. Did you just see who jumped in this chat?
My man Siski. Smoke. Man, listen, I ain't a fan of MJ, but I had to throw it on just for you because y'all know he's gonna love it.
No diddy.
Listen, if Alabama allows this bad Oklahoma team, and I apologize, Todd Bates, one of my better friends in life, Brett Venables, I think he's a daggone good mind, and he's going to be a good head coach. But these are one of the bumps and the bruises that you're going to have to take when you jump into the SEC and you want to get with one of the better teams in the SEC, which is Alabama. And you've seen Alabama just steadily get better over the past few weeks, and Oklahoma is not playing good football. Offensively, they don't know what they want to do. They don't have an identity. They're not good on the offensive line. Outside, in terms of receivers, not good enough. Their quarterback, they rotated both of those young guys in. Mm-hmm. OC gave him the hook. So Petty, they shouldn't stand a chance. But I guess that's why they say they play the game. But what I've seen out of Alabama, Caleb DeBoer, in the last 2 weeks, I told you, once you find your identity and find out who you are and who you're going to be, it's easier to be a play caller and it's easier to play because now you found your rhythm. Bama's found their rhythm. They'll roll into Norman. Maybe the first 2 drives, Norman will show them because Oklahoma can play good defense. But
Stutzman's a great linebacker. But I mean, look, you can what a good defense and no offense can only put up the fight for so long.
What Vegas has said, Bama 14. So yeah, I'll take that.
I'm with you here. I think Vegas has got this one probably. I mean, I don't think my boy Tyler's in the chat. He does a pick every Thursday, and his famous line when he thinks the spread might be too low is, "Smoke, it's not enough." Give me Alabama to win 49-10 over the Boomer Sooners.
Yeah.
Look, I think this is a game. Alabama's on a trajectory. Whatever outside noise they got mid-year, they got together and they looked at themselves in the mirror and they had a choice. They could either fall apart as a program or they could come together. And I think they've come together. And this is just another step on the way. Look, I think Alabama's headed to ATL now that Tennessee lost. And I don't think they have the offense. Look, they finally decided to go with Jackson Arnold. He's still young. He doesn't have an offensive line. You got 4 receivers hurt. Yeah, they got a decent defense. Maybe the stadium and crowd keeps them in it for a couple drives, but Alabama wears it.
No one screams for people that are losing games. Petty, the game's over before it starts.
Yeah, it's over. Like Tyler said, OU's defense is good. They just have to play too long on short fields, and that is not a good recipe when you got someone as dynamic as Jalen Milroe running around back there in Alabama's offense. So, Bama fans, I know you get nervous for all of them. Just enjoy this big-time matchup, and maybe the Tide gets payback for my man Smoke.
Yeah, they've been getting played. We're good.
No, you good? You're not salty about that one still?
Nah, I got over that as soon as I got on the bus, man. Next week.
All right, good stuff, man. Look, we've it's what are we pointing at? We got Latoya. Man, Justin, I'm glad you pointed, my dumb ass. I keep missing these questions. Latoya, do y'all think we should switch things up and let Young be our RB2? I love this question, Latoya, because we've been beating a drum here at the Bama Standard.
No, you and Justin Riley's been beating the drum. I don't think anybody
because we should.
Listen, Petty.
He looks like Bo Scarborough healthy.
All right.
Tell me why we're wrong.
I never said you were wrong or right. I just don't think that he is deserving to get reps from Justice or Jam. Now, which one do you put on the back burner? Pick one.
Justice.
Why?
Yeah, because he's been running into more asses than holes lately. No pun intended.
And then when you I just believe that everyone always wants the guy that's not playing.
Yes, it's banned short for fanatic, which is short for lunatic. We get it.
Young should get his opportunities, and he will. And when he did get his opportunities, he showed solid. But again, we're not there every day in practice. We don't know if he understands the offense. We don't understand if he understands blitz pickup.
That's the main. That's the key. That one.
So can he run the ball? Like, running the football is not it. You have to understand the total offense and how you fit in within your offense. So he'll get his turn. And not right now.
I think you nailed it. And putting look, I can get excited about the fan card because he looks great. He's got the body size. He's got the look of those old big running backs. But you hit something that a lot of fans miss on, and even Tyler's here. I wish we could. Tyler, we're pulling you in a week or two. You're coming back on the show. I hope you know that since you're listening.
Yeah, it's easy. They can easily just do a 3-man rotation.
Well, no, but the point I was trying to make is what people don't think about is the blitz pickup packages. It's almost more important to be able to do the pass pro as it is to be able to run the ball as a running back in this league. And that's the problem. So many kids coming out of high school, and they don't have to run pass pro. They give me the damn rock and let me run to the end zone. And that's what they do because they're the best player on the field. Well, then you get to college and, hey, it's third down, second down, and you've got to pick up a blitz, and you ain't got a clue how to do it. You got to be able to do that. Tyler Siskey, you got to know how to block before you get that rock. Tell me, is Smoke, feels like that's kind of what
I mean, Tyler and I might know what we're talking about. So
come on, man. I've watched a lot of football, Smoke. No,
we got our last question. We got to close it up.
All right, last question. Bama better off playing. Oh, this is a great question. Bama better off playing or winning the SEC or making the playoffs as a lower seed? Thanks, Joe. LOL.
If they win out, they're going to play in the SEC championship. If they lose one more game, they're out. So
yeah, you got to go now.
Just win. There's no great scenario. The scenario is called playing football and winning the game of football. Now, if you were 11-1 and you had the opportunity to say, if you take one more, you could be out, or if you're undefeated and you lose one at the end, yeah, you can sit down. But right now, taking 2 L's, you've kind of backed yourself in the corner of winning every game and playing football.
The answer is yes. You would prefer to kind of be that lower seed, go on the road and play in Indiana. But like Smoke said, at this point, you can't do that because if you lose, you're out of the damn thing. So you've made your bed with the loss to Vanderbilt. There's no room for error. You got to go to the SEC championship. And from what everybody has said, and Siski, I want you can chime in on this. There's a lot of belief that they're not going to hold conference championship losses against you. So if you go in with 2 losses, that third win will not knock you out of it. Again, as Alabama at this point, man, you just got to go win and play. And is the way Bama's playing, I like their chances. And if you go and win that one, you may shoot yourself up to, you're playing for the bye. You get that first week off. You get to get rested. So I know there's the thought you're playing the extra game. There's the chance for injury. Well, you're also taking a game away if you win that one. So
it balances itself out. You play one, you don't play the other. You're good because you get a week off. If you win it, TJ, what up?
Man, who is this guy? Did he ever play? This guy might have also played football. With Terry Jones Jr.
Man, that's my. Hey, listen, that's
play a little bit of tight end with you.
That's my brother, and he has a smart mind. He understands. He just told you, Milroe, Haynes, and Miller. They're your 3 running backs.
3-headed monster.
Why throw another one in and you don't have enough carries?
There you go. You already got the 3 you need. Man, we got the stars out tonight. We got Tyler Siski, former coach at Bama and Ole Miss. We got Terry Jones Jr. Man, it is tell them, Smoke, none of this scared shit. Just win.
That's it, bro. Let's play the game. Everybody has these scenarios. The scenario's called playing football.
Maybe the thing I love most about doing shows with guys like you, I know there's a lot of shows that just have dudes that like to talk football that don't know shit. But when you've had guys that actually have coached in the trenches, guys that have played in the trenches.
And Siski that developed and constructed that Bama train. Everybody thinks that Tyler Siski is just a guy that comes on and give great opinions about everything in the world, but he truly understands how to build a team for consistent longevity.
Well, and it shows the difference in a fan mindset versus a actual winner or a process or a program building mindset of this is, it's just a whole different wiring. We aren't wired the same, which is obvious. There's a reason you dudes are on the field or you dudes are coaching this game at a level that most of us could never even dream about. And that's because it's just a different wiring. And that's, again, I love when I'm going to start. You're not a coach, you're preacher. Preacher Smoke Dixon. You preach every Monday night on this show, my man.
I try not to preach because everybody don't want to hear it.
Well, with that said, Terry, man, we need to get you on here one night, brother. I'd love to get you guys on here talking a little, maybe for the Iron Bowl, get a little Terry Smoke Iron Bowl story chat.
Hey,
opening kick.
TJ, I'll Venmo you that cash when you come on, baby. It's like 1.5 million.
Also got to get my man Siski back. Every time we get Siski on here, everybody in the world watches because they think he's going to tell some crazy ass story and maybe get AJ finally on this network talking about shitting in shoes. I know Justin, my boy, has been trying to get him. Did you hear that story, Smoke?
Man, listen.
Did you hear the shit and shoe story?
I'm not going.
Pleading the fifth.
I wouldn't do that to my worst enemy, but some guys do.
Who would do that?
Yeah, I got better things to do about winning the next one.
Well, y'all had somebody on that team that was down.
Nah, not my guys. Somebody did it. I don't know who did it. Whoever did it did it.
There you go. Look, I know every time we set a number, I always shoot you past it, Smoke. I can't help it.
Oh, listen. Listen, I take overtime. That's what I'm getting.
You take overtime pay. Look, Terry, we're going to get you on the show either tomorrow night or sometime with me and Smoke coming up. Also, we're going to get Siski back real soon. With that said, man, it is Oklahoma week. It is blue blood week in college football. Alabama, Oklahoma. You got the Bama Standard coming at you tomorrow night at 6 Central. I think Smoke's going to be out. He's tomorrow. But as always, you got your all-star crew with the main man, Justin Riley. You're going to have Marvin, Stephen A. Smith, the whole clan. That's Stephen M. A. I always get the middle.
Stephen M. Smith, the funniest guy in the world, Steve Brown, and the sexiest guy walking this planet Earth, Marvin Constant. And the only person that can really keep us all in line, Justin Riley. So the come check us out, Bama Standard tomorrow. What time? 6 Central.
6 Central. 6. And then at 8 Central, follow that up, the final whistle with me, Matt Caddell, Chris James, the star of the show and the most talented, good-looking James brother, Dan James. Lushawn Graves, Ty Hayes, final whistle tomorrow night, 8 Central. Then Wednesday night, back at you with the Crimson Dynasty. Cece Payne, Dan James, Stephen Smith will be back with you. That's 6:30 Central. And that's followed up at 8:15 Central with Teague's Take. The man, George Teague, breaking down game film. One of the most insightful shows on this network by far. And then Thursday night, brand new show, Going Hard in the Paint at 7:30 Central, talking Bama basketball with the man JT Herb from the Herb Show and me. I'm there talking basketball because I love some damn Bama basketball. I just love basketball. Then, as soon as that game ends in Norman, we will be here live with the post-game show at the Bama Standard. Always going to have a former player on. Smoke sometimes shows up. We had Matt Cadell and Chris James last week. You never know. Marvin will show up from time to time, but always it's me, Justin, Dan James, Cishi, and one of these rock stars with us. Then Sunday night, talking Bama, 7:30 Central, JT, JM, Stephen Smith again. He's all over this damn network dropping knowledge. Always checking out. That show is always fire, giving you the final takes from what's going on out in Norman. And then Monday night, come back here with me and Smoke. We might have a few guests coming up in the next few weeks that are in the chat. But or just might be me and my boy Smoke talking ball. You never know. With that said, man, Smoke, how can we find you, brother?
At Coach GV Dixon on X and on IG, Smoke GV Dixon. Come check me out, man.
Check him out. Hey, if you're on Twitter, X, come over, hit that like and subscribe. If you're in that chat, hit that like and subscribe. I'm Daniel Petty. Check me out. I told you all the shows I'm on. I'm not telling you again. Find me on Twitter at Petty_Daniel. Smoke, man, as always, appreciate it, and see you next week, brother.
Petty, let's do it again. Monday.
Yes,
see
sir.
you. My man.
Later.